Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been like 2 months since I filmed the video. To sum it up, like work is stressful, life is stressful, and motivation is low. So I'm here now. My time has freed up a little bit on Saturday mornings, so I'm gonna try and like slot that in as my filming time. And yeah, so this video is going to be kind of like a sit down and talk video, so some people might find this boring. You don't have to watch. But yeah, so many people have been asking me how I'm studying now as a Korean intermediate learner and how my study schedule has changed. So we're gonna get into that and yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys how I study now as an intermediate learner. So first, there's a few things I wanna update you guys on. There's been some changes in my like posting habits and stuff like that. So because I don't have the time to do YouTube consistently, I've decided to start a blog. You can check it here. The link is down in the description. And there I'm just going to be writing little posts that either I don't think are suitable for a YouTube video or I don't have time to make into a YouTube video right away. So you can check out that down below. And also my Instagram, I've been posting more consistently lately and been putting more book reviews and stuff. So if you want to read some book reviews, you can go to my Instagram, also linked down in the description. There's also a few more changes coming up in the later summer. I'll make some videos about that later. And yeah, so those are just some updates from me. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so first I want to get into how I studied Korean before, like at the beginning. I have a whole video here about how I studied Korean from beginner level to intermediate level. If you watch that, you can see my like detailed like resources I used and things like that. But just to summarize how I studied when I first started learning Korean, first I was a very grammar heavy studier. I studied Korean grammar every day. I made pages and pages of notes about like Korean grammar. And I think at that part in my language learning journey, it really helped me. Another thing I did do, or something I didn't do, is I didn't really immerse myself. When I lived in Canada, I was really into K-pop, and so I did watch a lot of like K-pop related videos, but I always relied on subtitles. I was too scared to watch things with no subtitles, English subtitles, not Korean, and so I didn't really get any immersion. At that point in my Korean journey, I really struggled with getting out of my comfort zone. I did not want to read or do anything that made me feel like I couldn't learn or that I couldn't like understand. So there are people who learn languages and I was looking on Instagram and YouTube and I said like, wow, these people have been studying for 2 years, like half the time I've been studying Korean, and they can like speak their language, they're comfortable reading books, they can do this and this. And I was jealous, of course, but I decided to turn that jealous energy into something more productive. So I started to do research and I started to read some linguistic papers and some books about learning languages, and I watched a lot of YouTube. And then I started to develop the current schedule that I have now and current routine that I use to study Korean at my intermediate plateaued level. So let's jump into that and I will go a bit more into detail about how I'm studying now as an intermediate learner. Oh, I forgot to mention one other thing that I did when I was a beginner, or that I didn't do, was I held the belief that I didn't have to speak. Okay? And it's fine in like the first few months when you don't know a lot of sentence structures, you don't know a lot of vocabulary, and it's hard to hold a conversation. But I mean, like after like a year and a half where I was writing full paragraphs in Korean, albeit slowly and painfully, that I kept saying to myself, like, just wait till you go to Korea. You can speak when you're in Korea. And then when I got to Korea, oh, you can speak later when you like know more sentences, when you know more vocabulary. And that was a really toxic belief for me because I'm 4 years into learning Korean now, and I still talk painfully slow and choppy. So, yeah, that's another thing I did that I don't recommend doing. Start speaking as much as you can when you can. So, okay, so as of right now, I've been studying Korean for 4 years, and my routine is 100% different from what it was when I lived in Canada, and even when I first moved to Korea. So how that has changed? Well, let's see. The very first thing is that I never study grammar. Like, even though there's a lot of intermediate and advanced grammar I don't know, I don't open my grammar books anymore. The last time I studied grammar was in November before my Topik exam, and that was simply learning to test, not learning to use. I found it was really draining to sit down and repetitively study grammar that I couldn't retain. And I figured out the reason that I couldn't retain it is because I wasn't seeing that grammar used. Which brings me to my next point. I immerse heavily now. I do many things. So when I sorry, stuttering. So first, I read one Korean book a month. I try to do more, and I try to read like webtoons and news articles and stuff as well. But right now, I've currently set a challenge for myself in 2022 to read a Korean book a month. And I'm finding that it's amazing for vocabulary retention and learning like phrases and like chunks that you can kind of learn and use, and you see them repetitively. The next thing I do is I listen a lot. This is something I didn't do enough as a beginner because it made me uncomfortable to listen to something and not understand 80% of it. But now I'm fully trying to grasp everything I listen to. I take every opportunity. So I listen to people out in public, which I'm an eavesdropper. I listen to my boyfriend when we're out and he's speaking to like store staff or like people like that. I listen to my students. I teach Korean kids, and they are always talking in Korean. So I listen to them. I learn a lot of new like phrases and like little slangs and stuff like that. Another thing that I've started doing is I've learned to embrace the discomfort. A lot of language learners, myself included, at the beginning stage, you're really uncomfortable with the language. Being thrown into situations where you don't understand everything can make you really uncomfortable, and it can be demotivating. But I learned to take this discomfort and turn it into a learning opportunity. One thing I hate doing in Korea is going to the doctor because you never know if they'll speak English. Everyone says, oh, Korean doctors speak English, but that's not true. That's very not true, especially if they're older. Something I do now is that if I have to go to the doctor, if I have to go to the hair salon, if I have to go like somewhere, that I know I'm going to need certain phrases or certain vocabulary, I look them up before I go, and then I write them in a note on my phone, and I kind of rehearse them to myself. And this is really helpful. You can also do this in italki lessons. You can ask your teacher like what conversation topic you'll do, and you can just kind of learn some phrases or common vocabulary for there that you can use. So that's what I do, and in the past like 5 or 6 months, I think my Korean level has slowly started getting out of the intermediate plateau and kind of moving up more towards high intermediate. Um, really embracing the discomfort of not understanding books, not understanding people, not understanding videos. Embracing that discomfort and kind of using it to my advantage has really helped me push myself out of the plateaued stage. Yeah, I don't really study. I've kind of moved from the studying stage into like having Korean as a part of my life. Putting yourself into situations where you have to uh, live in the language is a really efficient way to get past that intermediate plateau. So yeah. Thank you for watching. I'm sure I've forgotten a million things because I always do. And if I did, I'll put them in the description or I'll write a blog post about it later. Don't forget to check out my blog. It's on Ko-fi. You don't have to pay me anything. You can just read it. My content's always free. I'm always answering DMs. Please, if you have a question, leave a comment. Go to my Instagram and tell me anything you want to see or any questions you have, and I will answer. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will hopefully be soon. So yeah, bye bye.